Reporting live from Calgary, Alberta. How are you doing? Let's get to brewing. I'm your host for today, Rylea, aka Friendly Neighborhood Barista. I just want to start the video by saying Pippa will not be joining us today, Pippa the cat. She is alive and well, she's just not in this space with us. Cat lovers, I'm sorry. Cat haters, you're welcome. But it's not about the cats, it's not about the dogs, it's about the coffee. Let's do it and brew it. Today we are going to be brewing a beautiful coffee from Kilimbi in Rwanda. So cool thing about Kilimbi is that the team works with 463 farmers to source coffee cherries from surrounding areas. They then bring them to Kilimbi and sort through to find the ripest, cleanest cherries. So pretty big team effort going into this coffee. Another great thing is that Rosso has been sourcing coffee directly from them for 5 years now. So high five. We have roasted this specific coffee for espresso, but just like any of our other beans, you can brew with any method that works best for you. Today I will be brewing on a Moka pot, in a Moka pot. If you've never heard of this, this is essentially a stovetop espresso maker, which is extremely easy to use. Comes in 3 different parts: top chamber with a lid, a little filter basket, and a bottom chamber where the water goes. And this is an awesome alternative to an electric espresso maker, or the ones you see in a coffee shop, because it's not as expensive. These are very budget friendly, whereas espresso machines, far out of my budget, personally. So the way that the Moka pot works is that you unscrew the top part, add your coffee grounds to the filter and water on the bottom, and science happens by creating steam to add pressure and push the espresso upwards into the top chamber. Moka pots also come in a variety of different sizes. I have a smaller one today that is going to produce about 2 ounces of espresso, which is great if it's just a single person or you're making maybe a cup for 2, but you could definitely get larger sizes if you want to produce more cups of coffee. The recipe that we will be using today is 13 grams of ground coffee. And just to note about this, when you are brewing with a Moka pot, you want to grind your coffee at a coarser texture than a regular espresso. With regular espresso, it's a very, very fine grind. And if it's too fine for the Moka pot, the water is going to have a harder time pushing upwards through the coffee and you're going to get a really bitter cup. So go anywhere in between a regular espresso grind and a drip coffee filter grind, and it should just look like table salt. So just a little bit coarser than a fine grind. So if you don't have a scale, you can also just add your ground coffee to the filter. I'm gonna definitely spill. And then give it a little shake. Not doing this over the counter is a crazy idea. So you should have something that looks like this. Nice. Should like this. So it's just a little bit heaping over the top of the filter, and you can just take your finger and gently swipe off the excess so it creates a nice even bed. You do not want to tamp this down like you would a regular espresso, because we want to be able to have the coffee still pass through. Just gently brush away. Am I gonna just do this over the counter? Gently brush away those excess grinds. It went on the floor. We're living dangerously today. And so it should just look like that, a nice flat bed, but not compressed down. Adding water to the bottom chamber. You wanna do just under 150 grams, I think I came up with, but another little hack is just filling up beneath the valve here will do the trick. I'm going to add already pre-boiled water. It's better to start out that way because it's gonna make the brewing process so much quicker. Just adding, it's hot. It is hot. Pour it on the counter. So just pouring the boiling water to the bottom of the valve. I am then gonna start my stovetop You can do this on an electric stovetop, gas stovetop, whatever you have. I am using a stovetop range that the top is actually too wide for my tiny moka pot to sit on. So I'm gonna do another little hack where I take a tiny skillet and then place it on top of that. So this is acting as a base. Safety first, I would rather not have it spill all over the range and potentially burn myself. We have got our basket of grounds. Once again, it is very hot. So you're probably just gonna wanna grab like a little cloth or a towel, just like this. I'm now adding the basket into the bottom chamber. The water is underneath. Take the top chamber and screw it on tightly. You wanna make sure it's really on there so the pressure stays put. I am now gonna add it to the stove top and open up the lid. You wanna open up the lid so that you can see the coffee coming out of the spout. Another thing to note is that you should start at a lower temperature. You don't wanna put it too high because then your coffee is going to brew too fast and then end up burning. So we're just gonna give that a little bit of time, watch super carefully, and as it starts to brew, it'll come out the little spout in the top and pour into the top chamber. You're gonna know this is done once the coffee out of the spout starts to gurgle a bit or go like, or spit out. And then you should quickly remove it and run it under cold water. Or you can wrap a cold towel around it to just stop the boiling and avoid a burnt coffee. Now with a moka pot, it's really easy to create a bitter espresso. So that's why you really wanna watch your grind size and your temperature that you are brewing it at. Okay, so it has started to come out of the spout into the top chamber. I'm watching carefully, waiting for it to gurgle, and that's when I'll know to take it off the heat and run the bottom chamber under cold water. It's really cool to watch coming out actually. Okay. We're almost there. Okay, it has started to gurgle. Now I'm going to run it under cold water. And obviously, don't forget to turn off your stove. Incredibly important note to make. Just be careful. Once again, this is very, very hot. This is made of aluminum, so it's a heat conductor. So yeah, this made about 2 ounces of espresso. The more you use a moka pot, the more you're gonna be able to listen and watch for when the espresso is done. Let's have a little taste, shall we? First, I am going to drink it just as an espresso, just to see how it brewed. And then I'll actually be making a special little iced Americano, an iced Americano. So let's pour it in my espresso cup. It smells amazing. I'm definitely, even just the aroma of it, I'm getting those fruit forward notes. Yeah, definitely a ton of mango coming through, bit of nectarine, canned peaches. About mid sip, there's some red berries coming through. It's definitely not too acidic. So yeah, as long as you get your grind size just right, and the temperature, you should get a very clean tasting espresso. Now let's try it in an iced Americano. So this is how you make an iced Americano at home. Definitely always have cute little fancy ice grabbing tongs. You wouldn't just grab it by hand. You're gonna add your ice to your cup. Not gonna use the tongs. And after the ice has been added, I would do about midway through the cup, halfway of ice. You're gonna wanna grab a handmade gravy dish of water and fill it up about 3/4 of the way. Depends on if you wanna add milk in afterwards. And then add your espresso. I'm going to drink mine with a straw. And always make sure that you add the ice and water first before the espresso. You don't want to add the espresso over the ice before water because melting. I'm actually going to add the remainder of the espresso shot. That's super nice. It's very refreshing. I often just drink iced lattes or an iced sweet latte, but I'm often pleasantly surprised with how refreshing and clean tasting an iced Americano is. This is perfect for like a mid-afternoon, inviting a pal over, sitting on the patio. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for brewing espresso at home through a Moka pot. If you don't have a Moka pot, but you enjoyed what you saw today, maybe you should go get one. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure brewing with you. I hope that your experiments at home for brewing this coffee go well. You know, it might take some troubleshooting, but this Moka pot and this coffee is pretty forgiving. So happy brewing.